What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be looking at the Little Element Cup once again, and the team that we're going to be taking a look at today is SLUGMA, Pumpkaboo, Super, and Ducklet. And the reason I wanted to take a look at this team is SLUGMA has some really interesting core breaking potential, specifically with Rock Throw as its fast move instead of Ember. That's what really makes this Pokemon stand out. There's not a whole lot of Rock type Pokemon in this meta, and the ones that aren't really using Rock type fast moves. So I thought I had some interesting core breaking potential. So I put this team together inspired by one of my top teams videos. That said, this team definitely wants to avoid Chinchou leads if at all possible, because we are ABA weak to it. Obviously, SLUGMA and Ducklet definitely do not want to see it. And guess what happened when I switched to this team for the first 3 battles in a row? So we're going to look at all those today. And that's also why the focus of today's video is actually going to be on the algorithm and whether it exists. Now, when I say algorithm in GBL, I'm speaking to a code designed to hard counter your team and force losses down to a 50% win rate. There is a large portion of the player base that believes in such a thing, and I'm going to show you why that is kind of ridiculous and then how to beat it. So without further ado, let's hop into some battles. Alright, SLUGMA into Chinchou in the first match. I kind of spoiled this. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay in. Their fast move is electric, so that is neutral. We're going to stay in for 6 fast moves and then catch a resisted bubble beam onto our Pumpkaboo. Chinchou players read at like a 3rd grade level, so you can oftentimes catch as soon as they get to the move, and they will throw their charge move instantly because they want to debuff your attack. They see those rock throws adding up. My opponent also comes in with a Salandit, and they throw an alignment, which means I can flip switch, and now I can come out with a Grass Knot loaded. They end up coming in with a Litwick, but I do have super effective foul play, so will my opponent respect this anyways is the question, and they do, so that's absolutely massive. And we have the alignment that we need. We have to align our Ducklet here because we need our SLUGMA onto their Chinchou. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. My opponent ends up pivoting into their Chinchou. This allows me to outpace and make it to a flame charge on this CMP tie with their next bubble beam. So if they want to get off this charge move, they're going to have to shield. My opponent lets that go. Flame charge still enough to pick up the knockout. My opponent saw how much one boosted rock throw did to their Litwick, so they decided to throw some energy. It is a resisted mystical fire, but that still picks up the knockout, and all I have to do here is make it to back-to-back charge moves before my opponent is able to make it to 2 charge moves of their own or get the full farm down, and we are able to outpace, so making it to 2 aerial aces, picking up the knockout, and we are able to take that win despite being ABA weak to a Chinchou and seeing it in the first game. Into the next match, would you believe it? Another Chinchou. How are we going to beat this twice? Are we going to do the exact same thing? Yes, we are. We're going to throw 6 rock throws. We're going to pivot into our Pumpkaboo, and this player actually holds on to their energy. They pivot, and they come in with Carvanha. Now, Carvanha obviously resists our fast move, and they hit super effective with their fast move, yet we got them into the yellow and grabbed a shield, which is absolutely insane. Thank you, Pumpkaboo Super, with those IVs. Now, I'm kind of just going to have to come in with my SLUGMA, get the full farm down, and kind of sacrifice this here. But my issue here is I need to be able to connect with a charge move against this Chinchou, or else this game is over. So I will actually commit the shield. I'm now going to go for the flame charge to boost my attack right back up. This probably actually won't be enough to pick up the knockout, but I need as much rock throw damage as I can get. My opponent actually lets that go. In comes the Ducklet, and it's a Dewpider in the back, so this game is over. I am just going to go for the aerial ace right away, knowing my opponent probably wants to lower my attack with a bubble beam before they take a charge move, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to commit the first shield. I will let their charge move go, anticipating the bubble beam. Mirror Coat still wouldn't do that much damage anyway. And now I can overfarm here. Not really, actually. Just going to full send the Brave Bird. And from this range, this will be able to pick up the knockout despite the debuff. And yes, we can resisted wing attack, farm down the Chinchou before they're able to make it to a charge move and pick up the knockout, because we have that shield loaded. Bubble Beam does lower our attack, which means they survive that last wing attack, but we're still able to take that game. So 2 wins against Chinchou, and would you believe it if I told you 3 in a row? Very unlucky. And that's the thing. Is it a forced 50-50 based on certain Pokemon that hard counter your team? No, because if that was the case, it would switch the team, because clearly these Chinchou leads are not beating him. What this really is representative of is the fact that there is a shift in the meta, and that shift in the meta is to counter Ducklet and Skrelp, which are on every single team, and Chinchou, being the only real electric in this meta, is kind of the only one that can do that, and that's why you see so many Chinchous today, which is why honestly my Barboach team probably would have been really effective if I had run that today. That said, we decided to use Slugma instead, and got core broken every game, but still able to take the win. Here I come in with my Slugma, and I actually think this is a misplay because I should have come in with my Ducklet and kind of just sacrificed the health on it. Fortunately, my opponent ends up pivoting back into their Chinchou. I'm able to now connect with a Rock Slide. That picks up the knockout, and what's in the back? It is a Skrelp, and they are 2 shields down. So unfortunately for my opponent, this game is over. All I have to do is shield once, full send the Brave Bird to pick up the knockout, save my shield in case their Fungus is able to make it to another charge move, and then just go for the full wing attack farm down, because there's no way they're going to get to 2 before I get that farm down. So back in comes the Fungus, and Fungus does get wing attack farm down, and we're able to take 3 wins against Chinchou leads. Okay, finally, I mean, this is still a bad lead, but now we're seeing Skrelp, so something slightly different. You could argue that the algorithm is still in play, but we're going to keep beating these teams. So negative lead every single matchup. Can we get a win every single matchup is the question. They end up chipping with an Aqua Tail because we did get that Aqua Tail catch, and then they come in with a Pumpkaboo of their own. However, their Pumpkaboo commits to the farm down, which means I'm going to grab a shield in this mid game, which is pretty nice. I then can come in with my Ducklet. Ducklet can take a foul play, but they have enough for the Grass Knot, so I will respect this. Grass Knot we'd be able to take, but it would be uncomfortable. This can only be another foul play, so I will let this one go. These Astonishes have added up a little bit though, so this actually does put us in the yellow health range. However, are they going to come back in with their lead, or are they going to show us their third? No, they're going to come in with the Skrelp. Skrelp will instantly be met with an Aerial Ace, farming up past the Brave Bird to kind of bait like we're running it, or bait like we're full setting it. My opponent ends up committing the shield, which means I'm going to pivot instantly into my Slugma, where I have some residual energy, and I can go for the throw on the CMP tie. My opponent ends up not going for it, which allows me to get to a flame charge against their Fungus in the back. This will one-hit KO the Fungus, and now it's a Rock Throw versus Acid. That's a tie, but with Ducklet still alive in the back, we're able to take that win. 4 bad leads, 4 wins. Can we keep doing it? Here's a 5th bad lead. This one is probably the worst one yet. I pivot instantly into arguably my hard answer because everything is resisted here, but my opponent is clearly core broken for whatever reason, so they end up staying in this matchup and chipping with a Mud Bomb, only to come in with a Fomantis, and Fomantis, their charge moves are completely walled here. However, from this range it will probably threaten the knockout, so I will commit the shield, and I want to get off some of this energy. I'm nearly at the back-to-back, so I kind of expect my opponent to let this go, and that's exactly what they're going to do. And now we're able to get the full farm down and flip switch, which is pretty nice. Actually, in comes a Skrelp in the back, and Skrelp will instantly be met with a foul play. I could have full sent the Grass Knot here, but I thought I could make it to a 2 foul plays, but it looks like I wouldn't quite be able to. I then pivot instantly into my Ducklet, and now why do I do this? Because Slugma doesn't really have play down energy into their Skrelp, and I need energy coming out of this matchup for my Ducklet if I want to threaten the lead. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to pivot. I end up grabbing a shield from my opponent. They overfarm perfectly. They're counting perfectly. They throw the Sludge Bomb on the CMP tie with my next charge move. That picks up the knockout, but now they're in Rock Throw farm down range. So I can just come in with my Slugma. Back in comes the Whooper, and now Whooper is going to be met with a foul play before they can even get to a second charge move, and they are completely walled here, so they have to kind of commit to the full farm down to come out loaded with energy, and they can't quite get it, which means now it's Rock Throw versus Acid, and Rock Throw gets the farm down before they can get to an Aqua Tail, and we are able to take that win. Finally, a good lead, and you know what? It's actually the worst one yet because, well, I wouldn't say it's the worst one yet, but this is one that's pretty negative in the zeros because their fast moves actually do more damage than ours because ours is non-stab, whereas theirs is stab. They also have a pacing advantage, and we're not running super effective Ember. So this is one of the instances where having Ember would have helped. Unfortunately, that's not the case. but it allows me to get an energy lead on my Ducklet, and Ducklet energy goes absolutely everywhere in this meta. In comes a Tentacruel, and now Tentacruel will be met with an Aerial Ace, farming up past the Brave Bird, so they might commit a shield here, and they do, and now I'm going to instantly pivot into my Pumpkaboo, and we actually get the catch, which is massive, because Tentacruel is completely walled in this matchup. Bubble Beam, Wrap, all of it is resisted, and in comes Fungus. I'm going to just commit the shield here. I have 2 shields, I have to use it somewhere, and even though Pumpkaboo's typing is really helpful in this endgame, I just kind of have to start shielding everything because Little Cup, everything is so glassy. I'm able to make it to a foul play. My opponent lets that go. Can we get the full farm down before they make it to another charge move? No. So very nice play by my opponent, understanding that they can survive that, but I will just commit the shield. And now I'm going to fire off the foul play as soon as they come back in with the Tentacruel. Tentacruel met with a foul play, we grab that final shield, and in comes the Ducklet. Ducklet only has to make it to an Aerial Ace here because they are completely walled on energy on my Pumpkaboo, and I know I can survive a Bubble Beam or a Wrap, so I put them in 1 Astonish farm down range. That will go through. Thank God we don't get 1 turn lag. And this charge move is going to be resisted here. Sorry, you hear my cat, my brand new kitten playing with a toy in the background, but we are able to take that win. Into next match, another terrible lead, a Binacle. We're going to save switch into our Ducklet here. And the reason we're not save switching into our Pumpkaboo is our hard answer, and Ducklet and Slugma are core broken by the Binacle here. So I'm forced to kind of come in with my soft answer. I can take 1 Ancient Power, and you're going to see me actually go for an Aerial Ace here instead of a Brave Bird. And I think objectively this is the wrong play. But the reason I did this is I actually played this matchup a couple times, and I found that every single one of them shielded the Brave Bird, except for the one that I went Aerial Ace against, which was very just unlucky. But I do commit the shield back because I know that anything in the back is not going to want to take a Brave Bird, so I know I can grab that shield back at the very least, or grab switch, and that's exactly what's going to happen. I am going to get that shield back, and now in comes Slugma. Slugma has super effective rock throws in this matchup, and I can potentially commit to the full farm down. It is just the Aerial Ace. Can I get the full farm down? It looks like not quite. Forced to commit the Rock Slide here in order to pick up the knockout. Does my opponent let that go? No, they're going to commit the shield and pick up the knockout here. Probably with the Brave Bird, they have enough for it. Aerial Ace would still be enough to pick up the knockout, but it is the Brave Bird, and now in comes Pumpkaboo, but it is another Tentacruel in the back, and you might be wondering why are there so many Tentacruels in these games, and I think the reason is Tentacruel has the exact same typing as Skrelp. However, in a 1v1 matchup, Tentacruel wins that because it has neutral wraps, whereas Skrelp is completely walled. So I think that's why you see the shift a little bit towards the Tentacruels, but I don't think that'll last forever because Skrelp is just better. We can survive 2 double resisted wraps there, but our defense is lowered. It kind of depends. In comes the Binacle, watching for the catch. They do not get it. Astonish picks up the knockout on the Ducklet. We come out with a Grass Knot loaded, and Grass Knot is massive overkill here. It is double super effective damage. It picks up the knockout on the Binacle, and we are able to take that win. Into the final match of the video. Finally, another good lead, a Cottony. Their either fast move would be walled here. They end up pivoting into a Oddish, and they are also walled in this matchup here, so I'm just going to stay in. I'm going to get the full Rock Throw farm down. Back in comes the Cottony. It looks like the Cottony is on Charm, so I'm guessing this is going to be a Charm, double Razor Leaf, triple Grass line. My opponent was tired of seeing all the water types, and I do not blame them, but in comes my own water type, and this water type actually has a decent matchup into this grass type because we are half flying and we have that fast move pressure. Here comes a Aerial Ace that grabs a shield, and now I'm going to pivot into my Pumpkaboo because Cottony's moveset, all their charge moves are grass, so everything is walled here. I can let it go. I can survive 1 charge move. Can we get the full farm down before they get the farm down? It's going to be close. They survive that Astonish on 1 HP, which means we get the simultaneous knockout. But it is a Gossifleur in the back. All we have to do is make it to a Brave Bird before they get the Razor Leaf farm down, and we make it there. So this is massive overkill, but it picks up the knockout, and we are able to take that win. So yeah, this is a look into if you believe in the algorithm and you think there's a force 50-50 and designed to hard counter your teams, maybe take a little bit look at your own games, because you just saw either 4 or 5 matchups in a row where I hard lost lead and hard lost switch, and it seems like there's no win con in those matchups. But you just have to focus and you have to look at what your potential win cons are. Maybe just capitalize on some of your opponent's mistakes as well. They're going to make mistakes. That's just natural. Sometimes it's not always going to work. Sometimes you just get hard countered, your opponent doesn't make mistakes, you can't find a win con and you lose, and that's going to be like 25% of games, and that's just the way it is. But there are some games where you are hard countered on the lead and on the switch, but you can find a win con if you're smart with your shields, and you know which Pokemon to run with. Maybe you need to save 2 shields for your closer in the back, or maybe you need to fight for a switch, those kind of things. You need to really focus on those. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me from this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.